So today, we just want to look at mental upgrade. Mental upgrade version 2.0. 3 mentalities to check. I will talk about 3 I can mentalities, right? The I can mentality version 1.0, I can start from scratch. I want to visit that because I'm doing mental upgrade version 2.0. So we will take this I can mentality version 1.0 and upgrade them to a version 2.0, right? Good. So that's the mentality upgrade that I'm working on. The second I can mentality is I can do it my way. I can do it my way. We'll take that version 1.0 mentality and upgrade it to a version 2.0 mentality. Third mentality is the I can stick to my choice mentality. So there are 3 I cans there. I can stick to my choice is the version 1.0 of that mentality. The version 2.0 we will talk about very briefly. So the first mentality, I can start from scratch, usually becomes part of our problem. Starting from scratch is good. Bible says, don't despise the days of little beginning, right? He said, though thy beginning was small, thy latter end shall greatly increase. So it's a good thing to start from scratch. But what is scratch? You can start from being a totally nobody. But the idea of starting from scratch is for people who like starting from totally nothing. Every time somebody says, I can just scratch, something went in before the scratching. Usually when you hear people say, I can start from scratch, they seem to neglect what is available to help them start. And so they have the mentality that with absolutely nothing, you can start. The word nothing, it's a relative term, but it's a difficult term. You can't really start with nothing. The only person that can come to a total void and commence existence from a total void is God. God, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, right? And the earth was without what? Form and void. But the moment God did that, everything else God made after that point was let the earth bring forth. So there was something now in existence with which the next creation came from. Let the waters bring forth. Right? And the Bible says that the Lord called the light out of darkness. So there was darkness and light out of that. Almost everything afterward emanated from something else. So in the last Sunday, the woman came to Elisha the prophet and said, my husband owed money and is dead, and the creditors want to take 2 of my sons. And the prophet looked at her and said, what can I do for you? What do you want me to do for you? First question, what do you have in your house? Scratch would mean if she has nothing, then she can have something from the nothing. But that's not realistic. She said, your handmaid has nothing. If your handmaid has nothing, then it's difficult for you to have something out of nothing. But then she said, but your handmaid has a pot of oil. And then the man of God said, now we will make business out of the pot of oil. So if she had said, I have nothing, if you really want to start a business, you don't have the shop, but you have a residence where you live. Can the beginning of the business fit into that residence? Can it fit in a corner? Can it just fit in somewhere? When I began my work in the res, it was a single room. Then I called the carpenter in the single room and I carved out a cubicle. You know what we call a cubicle? It was a little tiny box cubicle. So if you enter where my computer is in my single room, it's just a space for the computer table and myself, not in the business point in my room, just a little wooden cubicle. It was hot. But I reserved that space so that when I enter into that cubicle, I will have a sense of labor, a sense of work. So it's a single room, but I want to have a difference in feeling between this place and that place. So I can step out into the single room and I'm home. And I can step out. So if you come to meet me to do something for you, you and I can't share that space in the cubicle. But at least you can stand at the door and see what is going on in the computer in the cubicle. Now, can it fit But from that cubicle, I was able to lease a 2-bed apartment for the office. From the byproduct of what happened in the cubicle, then I leased 2-bed apartments in the same premises. People lived in 1 room and 2 rooms when I moved into a single room. I moved into 2-bedroom flats, 2 separate bedroom flats in the same premises where people were already living in 2 rooms. They felt like they were better than me, right? When I moved into a single cubicle. But I made produce from the single cubicle. I go to the client. I pick up the job and I return and I get into my tiny box and I process the job. When I go to the client, they don't know I'm coming out from a box in a room. The mindset that I have nothing is a problem. Or the mindset that, okay, I can go start with nothing, it's also a problem. There's always going to be something you anchor on that can help you start. Capacity to discover that one thing is one of the things that we lack. So for you, what is that one thing? What is that one place? What is that one region? So can that space take it? Next, you look at it. I wanted to get this. And I say, but you can wash. You don't have the machine, but you can wash by hand. So you don't have to service the number of clients that require a machine. For the start, you can handpick a set of clients whose volume of washing you can do by hand because they know you can do it. With that, you have created a business consciousness. If you have already run this for 2 good weeks and 2 good months, and then you go to somebody for assistance to buy a machine, the person knows you're not going to waste the money because there is already a process. Do you get what I'm saying? Meaning that what I'm saying in this mentality upgrade is to help you find that thing. Don't live in a void. And don't ever think you're going to succeed in a void. Science doesn't believe that anything can come out of nothing. Because nothing can come out of nothing. Something cannot come out of nothing. Nothing can come out of something. That's nice. Sometimes this thing, just sounds good. She was able to know that there was an oil. And the man of God said, all right, let's take the prophetic and tap it with that oil and see it grow. So we want to bless certain things. I say sometimes some of us do one thing. We wait until we have started a business. We say, Pastor, come and dedicate the place. I've told you that that's not the primary dedication. Sometimes, whether that dedication is even done or not done, your business is going to succeed. Do you understand what I mean? Yes. I want to mentality check, right? Good. Why I say you're not starting from scratch is that some tools have already been predefined and made for you. Do you understand that? So you start totally from scratch. For example, I want to start from scratch. Then you go download WhatsApp. No, if you want to start from scratch, develop the app. Oh, then you now download it into a mobile phone that you have bought for about 35. That's not starting from scratch. So somebody say, I started my business from scratch. It's a good grammar. It makes you feel like, I started it on my own. We all say the same thing. And then when you hear that, I want to start from scratch, just like Brother John. When he started his viewing center from scratch, you know how he did it? He took his LCD TV from his house and took it to the hall. Then took his DSTV. Then took it to the hall. I said, I started my business without anything. Bros, the TV is something. The DSTV, some of us don't have it. That's more than something. Then the people who came to watch didn't sit on the floor. Where did they sit? Just my chairs. Oh, that's not scratch. You had chairs. Your handmaid has nothing. But under the bed is a pot of oil. How we use it is what counts now. I sing. There's nothing scratching about singing. That's the tool. Use it. So all of this I said last Sunday, I want you to find out what that tool is. Find it. Now look at the scratching. At what point do you really begin to scratch? Listen, God didn't design you to be born scratching. When God creates you and sends you into the world, he makes sure people scratch for you so that you can be mature enough to scratch for others. Now I'm going to explain that. A chick, after it cracks out of the shell, can it scratch for itself? So who scratches for the chick? Talk to me, somebody. Mother hen scratches for the chick. Sometimes it might even have, like the birds, might even pick and put in the beak. But it does the scratching. Do you know that before you come to this point, God has already positioned people in your life that have already done scratchings for you? Once they have finished this, they are the ones who did the scratching. You're not the one starting from scratch. They did the scratching. You should find the worm. But we become so blinded to the worm that we don't even identify it. Yes, I can start from scratch, but really, you meet that guy who comes around and tells you, I'm starting my business from scratch. I say, is that so? I say, how do you want to start? I say, I'm waiting for my uncle to send me 150,000. English is a very difficult thing. You're starting your business from scratch and you're waiting for your uncle. So what's going to happen? Your uncle is the one scratching for you. Now, mother hen, you are like the chick, right? You want to get your business started and you really need to get a scratcher. What kind of relationship have you built with the people around you that you could be certain somebody can scratch for you? Some relationships are so terrible that nobody in your family even wants to help you. So God can send you mother hen, and the person can come around and hand you something, like a tablet. And then you have a tablet in your hand, a big tablet, and the first question you should ask yourself is, what can I do with this tablet that could be productive for me? But the big trouble with church folks is, I have a very fine tablet. It's original. Very high speed. My friend bought it for me from UK and sent it. We have had your testimony. What do you want to do with it? Just watch. Download Facebook. Download WhatsApp. Download Instagram. Snapchat. Oh, Face app. Oh, beauty camera for selfie. Somebody has scratched for you. But you haven't asked yourself, what is it I can do with this device that can bring me to the status where I can sometime in my life scratch for somebody else? Because the mother hen that is scratching for the chick today was once a beneficiary of another hen's scratching. Colossians 1 verse 23. Of which I, Paul, became a minister. All that, so he said, which you heard, which was granted, which was said. He's telling them, listen, this gospel and this Christian faith that is handed to you to carry on with is not something you are going to begin. It's something in which you're going to continue. It's a flow. It's been happening in that manner. You are coming to tap into it. When God wants to bless you, God puts you in the line of a flow. Abraham, it began with Abraham, then God brought in Isaac, connected him with Abraham in the line of the flow. So if Isaac wants to live with the blessing, Isaac has to find out what to pick and continue. Isaac won't show up and say, I'm starting my life from scratch. No, you're not starting your life from scratch. You're connected to a covenant that preceded you. And if you connect well, the full content of the blessing of that covenant will come to work in your life. Isolating yourself from that is depriving yourself of the blessing. If your family, for example, there's an engineer, there is a doctor, there is a pilot, there is that, and instead of you to go into the family and look at it and say, well, this guy is a pilot, there could be some scratching ahead for me. This guy is that, it must have already scratched for me. The doctor can scratch for me so I can pick 2 to 1, and I don't have to be a pilot or a doctor, but I can pick from what has been laid by the foundations of these persons, right? And but the pride of some of the current generation young people is, I don't want to, I want to start my own life from scratch. It's the prodigal son's mentality. The father is wealthy, right? He can live with the father, tap into the grace of the father, feed from the knowledge base of the father, succeed how the father is successful, but he says, give me everything that I have. I want to go run my life, my own way, and I want to define my course. Now he hasn't even picked anything from his father. He hasn't picked knowledge. He hasn't picked experience. He hasn't picked skills. He hasn't picked tools. He didn't pick equipment, machineries, the office structure, nothing. He took just the bonus money and went out and was now a consumer instead of being a producer. By consumer, it means that you're eating the profit and you're eating the capital. And he was not able to reproduce what he had received from the father, and he ran out of those things and became employed by pigs. He was feeding pigs. He became a slave to pigs, not just the man. He was serving pigs food. Am I talking to somebody here? So what did he do? He says, I will return to my father. Why does he want to go to his father? He said, how many of my father's hired servants have food enough and to spare? Watch. Hired servants are what? Workers. Hired servants are not slaved. Hired servants are people who work for pay. Hired means that they are paid for the hire. It's a language of saying these are their staff. My father's workers can feed their families. My father's workers can what? Take care of themselves. My father's workers can do what? So if my father's workers can sustain themselves and I can't sustain myself, then something is wrong. The workers are benefiting from the father's scratching. He wasn't benefiting from the scratch because he wanted to go start from his own scratch. You can't crack out of a shell and start scratching for yourself. And God in his omniscient nature ensured you were born naked. If some of you came up with a pair of trousers from your mother's womb, we wouldn't hear anything. Mother would say, you know I've been taking care of you. When I was born, I came up with a pair of trousers. I had my own trousers when I had my complete pair of trousers when I came out. When you did push, did you not see my pair of trousers? If you push harder, my pajamas would have come out. I came out with my, so God knew, if you're going to come around making those noises and all that, he says, no, bring him out naked. Bring it out naked. You just came out, the first thing you do, what you do? Just disturbing everybody, making noise, and everybody was running around, cutting umbilical cords from you and all that. They bathed you, free water, free water, free soap, free bathing, free hug, free kisses, noise making, free breast milk. Breast wasn't even yours. And the milk, free that, all of this stuff where everything was just thrown on you, then napkin, then everything. Everything else, people scratch for you. All these beautiful clothes you wear, when you see yourself in the pictures and the rest, you didn't buy any. But the moment you got to a level of mentality, you told yourself that I want to start from scratch. How can you be starting from scratch when you've been benefiting from scratch? You've been benefiting from scratches. So learn from it. If you want to learn how you got what you got when you were a kid, was that you depended on certain persons to supply some things which you needed to live. As an adult, you're not going to be a beggar, but you'll be able to identify what others have laid as foundations with which you can learn from, take from, and continue. So we need to upgrade mentality. You need people. Mentality check number 2. Let me just go down to that quickly. Once you get what you have to work with, the problem is I can do it my own way. Listen, it's a big problem. That's thinking system 1.0. Doing things your own way is not bad. Carve a niche for yourself. Be unique. Be special. We have all those motivations. We share the same here too. But that's a thinking system 1.0. The alternative thinking system is which way works better. Now, which is the best, which is the most effective way to get this thing done? That's thinking system 2.0, upgrade. So let's work on upgrade 2.0 to say, what's the way that works better? How is it being done? Because what you are expected to do is not to deviate from the effective way, but to improve upon. Now, Ecclesiastes 10 verse 15, what does it say? The labor of fools wearieth what? Yeah, wearieth every one of them. But what? Because he does not know the way. How many of you can travel to your village alone? If you need to succeed, there is somebody that has already succeeded. He knows. You don't have to go and replicate somebody else's mistake. Because if you want to find it out yourself, you will find it out the hard way. Some of me. Tell yourself, listen, you want to start a business, talk to somebody who is in the line of business. So I can do it my way. It's not enough. How is this book written? How is a paragraph written? How is this business structured? How is this thing done? The moment you know that your mentality goes higher, I'm a singer. This is my style of singing. No, your style of singing is okay. When we taught music, we tell singers, say, listen, find that mentor, somebody you like the way the person sings. Try to sing like that person, but you will end up sounding like yourself. Mentality upgrade number 3. I can stick to my choice. That is, those of us who say, this is how I want to do it and this is how I must do it. There is a problem with that. Gold has to be tried. Gold doesn't remain the way it was harvested. When you dig out gold from a mine, gold has to be tried by fire, tested and proven. Has your choice been tested? Has your decision been tested? Some of you who want to be that this is my own decision. This is what I have decided. This is what it must be. Anytime I decide something, this is how it stays. I can't change my choice and the rest. Listen, has your choice been tried and tested before you come to that ground? The problem is that some of the trouble you are in today were byproducts of your yesterday's choices. The fact that you are not having money today is a byproduct of your yesterday's choices. That you are homeless today is a byproduct of your yesterday's choices. So if you have somebody whose choices have not been tested and proven to be effective, be very careful how you insist on your choice. Where you are today is a byproduct of how you think. So if you stink, think of how you think. Think about what? How you think. Because it's how you think that decides whether you will stink or blink. Everything that happens to you in your present time is a byproduct of your thinking system. So if your thought says, do it this way, have you put your thought to test? If you made a decision yesterday and got into trouble, and your mind gives you a suggestion today, question it. Somebody don't know that you're supposed to question your mind. You can question your mind. You can question your mind. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind means that your mind should not detect your identity. You detect the identity of your mind. Meaning that your mind is subject to your own manipulation. It's either you manipulate your mind or your mind manipulates you. It's a living entity of its own. It can order your life or you order it. He said, put on the mind of Christ, meaning there can be a mind exchange. When he says, don't be carnally minded, means that you are the supervisor. You are in charge. You detect what nature your mind carries. Somebody say, my mind, it's in my mind to do this. No, you can put something in your mind and your mind will accept to process. It is when your mind is void that your mind becomes the determinant of everything else. So if your mind has not been proven to be very efficient in how it makes decisions, question every decision your mind makes. Don't tell yourself that that's how it is in my heart to do it. Man, ask yourself if your heart is in order. Because if you carry that kind of heart and marry, you don't know if you're going to marry. You can't even, you see, a mind that stands before two products cannot choose the original one. Once you go and make marriage decision. You can't choose between an original television and a fake one. You don't know the difference. Your mind cannot immediately pick the difference between Panasonic and Panasonic. Printed on a gadget. Sony and Sony, On a radio set, your mind can't tell the difference. You finish buying it and you're going, I bought one Sony television. Only to go back and somebody said, this is not Sony now. This is Sony. If your mind can't tell that, then you come around and say, my mind don't tell me, say, she not be good girl. The same mind that couldn't tell you bad product. The same mind that couldn't tell you that this okra is bad. And this okra is better than this okra. The same mind that couldn't even tell you that this soup done, come out and for fire. You allow the soup until it's in dry. Then you come and say, my mind tell me, make a come out, my mind can't tell me, my mind they do me two. As I go into the toilet, now if I come out for toilet, soup don't burn. That same mind. It's the same mind you are waiting for to detect your life. That mind will put you in trouble. And when mind will not even mind you when they jail you. See, when they put you in jail, only your body will be there. Your mind will be wandering everywhere else. Close your eye now, your mind will wander. As you just close your eye now, bam, your mind will be in US. So you condition your mind. You tell, listen, gold. Revelation
3:18. Yeah. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thine eyes with eye salves, that thou mayest see.
All those descriptions, read the scripture, Bobby.
Job 23, verse 10. But he knoweth the way that I take. When he had tried me, I shall comfort as gold. So, when he has tried me. Now, the point is about your eyes and all, anoint your eyes with eye salve. Everything is talking about the functions of your mind. But it's comparing it to a gold. Some of our minds are still untrained. Do you know what? The reason for this thought service is, listen, some humans grow in their bodies but leave their minds behind. Adults in a 40-year-old body with a 5-year-old mind. Have you heard that a fool at 40 is a fool forever? Yes, because if the guy is 40 years and his mind is 5 years, it means that by the time his mind gets to 40 years, the man must have died. So he has no opportunity to mature mentally. Because mental maturity is not the same with body maturity. That's why some of you will look at somebody and say, "Chai, that kind of grown, matured girl, they behave like that." You don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about the body size based on biology. Like you see the young man is just fat like the 50cl version of 7-Up bottle. You think that, you don't know that sometimes when they increase the size of the bottle, they diminish the quality of the drink. That as the body is going big like that, the inside is adulterated. That's why, because the inside is adulterated, for some men, you see that they are married with very huge body, but adultery is inside. They've been adulterated. Their mind can't stay in marriage. Because they have not grown. Internally adulterated. Big bottle, big container. That guy is a very big man. Because he is occupying space. Matter. When Mary is benefiting, Mary is building what? Mind. By learning. Matter is what? Anything that has weight and occupy what? Space. Matter. They are fairly different anyway, but it's the same thing. From you. Mary is mind being built. Matter is body occupying space. So you look at yourself as big as you are. That's some of you who used to sing ancient old days, as old as you. I don't know whether you are abusing God or something. I don't understand where that song came from. You will never change. God, I don't understand whether it's warning. You know when somebody tells you you will never change? When your father or your mother look at you, they see you as old as you, you know go change this again. But you know go change. Some people can't do certain things, they can't do certain things, they cannot move and the rest. They are operating at version 1.0 of their mind. They've not even gone to 2.0. We're not even talking about 3.0. So what is your version? Some people they're not even in 1.0. As they just come out from their house, they do uninstall. On his only the body is moving. No sense. Nothing, no sense. Somebody can just stop them on the road. Hey, okay. He be gay. He go follow. Enter car. But when you ask some people, you said they carried you and the rest, how did they carry you? Say, I don't know. They stop, I can't enter. This is a matured human being who left his mind at home, carrying his body, paint it before the mirror, everything. After the decoration, the mind just started and said, come on with you. He said, no, come on, come on. Left the house without his mind, left the house without his sense, left the house without common sense, left the house without anything, was just moving like that. Has your mind been tried? Because if your mind is tested, the next decision you make, because it is coming from a tried and tested mind, once you come up with a decision, you find out that it's an effective decision. So your choice, before you begin to say, it must be my choice, it must be my decision, put that decision to a test. If not, if you've been making wrong decisions in the past, and you still want to insist on your decision, you are likely going to put yourself in what? I'm not saying you shouldn't have confidence in your decision, but I'm saying that you need to try and test your decisions. Let me pass this warning to some of you before I leave this place. Those of you who, every little thing that happens in your office, you have submitted resignation. You allow your emotion to become the dictator of your mind, not your intelligence, your emotion. Now, you see, the mind is subject to various supervisors inside you. You are supposed to be the core. You is different from your emotion. Sometimes your emotion becomes the one in charge and start detecting what you should think and do. Paul said, when I was a child, I thought as a child. And I what? I talk as a child, I behave as a child, but when I became what? A man, I put away what? Childish things. If your emotion, and when he said that, he said it on the scripture when he was talking about charity, about love. Because love is an emotional force also. Meaning that at the time in which emotion is deciding for your mind, you behave like a child. What will a child do if he doesn't like this pap? The child picks the plate and throws away. He doesn't evaluate the cost of the pap. He doesn't evaluate the cost of the plate. He doesn't know only the mother knows that. The child does not care. The child is more emotional. If the child threw that pap away because he thought there was no sugar, the mom knows there was sugar. The difference was that the mom had not stirred the pap. And so the child has tested the region where there is no sugar. But because there is a deficiency of intelligence, it couldn't wait to be schooled by the mom that there is sugar. So it acted by emotion and threw the pap away. Thus, it wasted it emotionally. Its mind, emotion told the mind, there's no sugar. Throw it away. And the body being the less influential is now driven to grab the plate and throw away. Then it starts crying. Then when you now tell the boy that you have thrown away this pap, you are not going to eat any other food, you sit down, the guy will sit down and cry. Few minutes after, the emotion, the body tells the mind, I'm still hungry. The mind informs the emotion that, bros, that food you said I should throw away is causing something in my stomach. Emotion says, well, it's not my business, so solve your problem. Then the mind says, okay, go and gum mommy, maybe you can have Capri-Sun or biscuit. Then the body goes and gum mommy. Then mommy shift, then he gum mommy. Then the mind now says, tell mommy sorry, mommy sorry. Doesn't mean that it's not going to throw another pap again tomorrow. Because the moment the emotion kicks in, it might not be pap. You can just carry your phone and hit it on the floor and cry. Each time a child is about to cry, anything can happen. Some adults are like that. They have done everything, they have finished marrying. But the moment emotion kicks in, this marriage, I don't think it will work. You're not the one talking. You don't know anything. This generation is very, very careless. In a hurry, we have smartphones with foolish people. Our parents did not have plenty grammars. They married for years. And they made their marriage work. Our parents made their marriage work. Some of them, their husbands have died, the wives have refused to marry. Some of them, the wife have died, the husband have refused to marry. They made their marriage work. Some of them didn't even meet the lady, the person, the wife was even imported. There was export and import, and the wife was brought to them, and they saw it for the first time and said, "What's your name?" And they said, "My master can marry you." They married, and they made the marriage work. You have known, you did courtship, ship concord, you caught ship caught. You did our engagement, you went for a relationship meeting, you sat down in seminar, everything you put together, you came, you married. 3 months after, you're telling somebody, it's like, this marriage will not work. Are you the one talking? You're not the one talking, you don't know anything. You just allowing emotion to speak through your mouth. And your mouth, anything that is injected inside you, open his mouth and say it. Tomorrow you come and apologize. Why are you apologizing? Because you're not the one who said it. And that same thing that said that thing will come and say, "I'm not one tomorrow." So when you're working, somebody comes and offends you in your place of work. "I will quit this office and not come in again." The way you people treat me in the place, you're not the one talking. No. Sometimes this madness is on the 30th, and you've not received a salary. Common sense would just slap, a reasonable common sense will slap you. Bye! I'm not done the end. So I ask people something, I say, every time you get angry and you quit your job because another worker made you angry, and the worker remains there, and is collecting salary and is paying her bills, and you wait vex, they for house, no job, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, because you dey vex. My dear, if your ego cannot give you a go, let it go. Some single ladies are single today because they broke up with their relationship under the guise of "I vex for her. I just said you kept me waiting." You are following Hollywood movie. Or you're following Hollywood movie. You are quoting, "You kept me waiting. I can't do this again. I was waiting in that restaurant. It was very embarrassing." My brother, you don't know what embarrassing is. If somebody kept you in a restaurant and that's embarrassing, you don't know what embarrassing is. You don't know what embarrassing is. Have you gone for a job interview only to enter in that place and discover that your zip is spoiled? Somebody kept you in a restaurant and that is embarrassing. Come buy Coke for yourself, drink and go away. You don't even know what the person is going through, where he's coming from, whether FROSC has even carried him, whether he's even behind bars. You are saying this is not going to work, and you're just being emotional. You don't even know anything. After you finish packing up and you quit, year 1, year 2, year 3, you're now an undergraduate in singlehood. You have finished your 4-year service, and the guy has gone. You will see on the road, you will greet. He will even greet you from his car. You'll be saying in your mind, now wow, now one small vex. 5 minutes vex with multiple decision, life-changing decision. Vex. You know what vex is? Vex. Have you seen somebody? You don't tear 1,000 naira with vex before? Tear and finish with vex, and the person go tear and throw away, begin to beg for transport to carry pay go house. Bible says that anger rested in the bosom of fools. I'm talking about anger now. Later on, in other weeks, other months, I'll tell you also the fact that overexcitement is as bad as anger. Even to be overexcited is bad. Do you know that some persons will get money? It is out of the excitement of the money they spend all. They're very, very happy. That TV, how much? That one, bring her. Bring. Meat pie, 4. Juice. Original juice. No, that's small. Big pack. Overexcitement. Emotion. Before you realize it, your money is gone. After all the things you have bought, you sit down and look at it, nothing. You eat one of the meat pie, too, your belly is full. You start stretching. To give for how the thing will shift inside, so you can put one more. So the emotion should never manage your mind. That's what I mean. Whether positive emotion or negative emotion should never what? Let us pray.